All right, all right. Here we are. Good morning, everybody. Villain Squad. Getting this thing ready to get together. Football Talk with Russell Wayne.
I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick.
Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach. I knew we could have won state, man. I know I came in a little bit overweight, but I'm going to do much better next time. One pride, let's go. Woo!
What's up, y'all? This is Ifeatu Melifonwu, safety for the Detroit Lions. And I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team. And I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.
It reminds me of a football show, Football Talk with Russell Wayne, 11 a.m. in the mornings. You should watch it because it could be good for you. It could be good for you. It could be good for your life. Yeah, welcome one, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen. It is Football Talk with Russell Wayne, and I am your host, Russell Wayne, as soon as I get this thing out of my way. Yes, I am your host, Russell Wayne, and I am here in my kitchen. Yes, broadcasting live from my kitchen and into the Lions Villain Squad page right here. Good morning to everybody that is out there right now listening and watching this program right here. We are live right now in Detroit Lions news. We are live right now in the Lions Villain Squad and our illustrious YouTube channel at Main Event 365. I am here with my compadre, Main Event Mike. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing so good, Russ. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah. Good morning.
I'm going fast, man. Doing this intro thing. Oh, there we go.
There we are. Good morning, everyone. It's Main Event Mike here with Russell Wayne on Football Talk with Russell Wayne, and it is day 4 of the off season for the Detroit Lions, and we are still licking our wounds from that devastating, gut-wrenching, heartbreaking loss in San Francisco. And we're here to talk about football. Russ, what's on the docket today?
Well, I mean, the thing is like the gut punch that we got 2 days ago. And I'm not saying that this completely cures everything, but this is a pretty big deal right here that Ben Johnson says, I ain't bleeping leaving. Mm-hmm. He's got unfinished business. Mike, what do you think about this? You haven't got a chance to comment on this yet.
You know, what's really interesting is the reports are that the Commanders were sending a contingency to Detroit to interview Ben and Aaron Glenn. And in the air, while they were in the air, they got the word that Ben Johnson was not going to take the interview. So they might be a little butthurt there in Washington over that. And I think this is outstanding. I think it shows his maturity for his age. He doesn't want to say, wouldn't you rather be the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions than the head coach of the Commanders right now? I think this shows his maturity. Yeah, it's great for us, but it's good for him as a man. I believe this is the right move for him. The Lions are going to pay him, as much as he needs. There's also reports out there that the number he was asking for was scaring teams away. So maybe he said, you give me the big bag or I'm staying. And he told, the Commanders don't even bother. So definitely interesting. He's obviously still developing, still learning, and that gut-wrenching loss in San Francisco had to leave a sour taste in his mouth, and he didn't want to leave under those conditions, and who can really blame him?
Absolutely, man. I mean, I was so excited about that. I mean, we needed something like this. We absolutely needed something like this for the fan base right there, because, there's a certain part of the fan base that is definitely, it might feel like you're never going to get back to the NFC Championship again because it's been so long in between. But I think that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, they've done it the right way. They've done it the right way. They've built the franchise using the pillars of the franchise that are still on rookie contracts. This was the first year. I was saying at the Lions Den, we were watching that game, man, if they win the Super Bowl this year, this could be a dynasty. Like, this is a young team. They got 3 years before they really have to worry about big things on their contracts for the next years. And now that Ben Johnson is staying, that's even better. That's even more just feeling good for the future of the Detroit Lions. And this offense was prolific, man. This isn't a top 5 offense. This might be the best offense in the National Football League next year.
Yeah, I think so too. And they're just, let's face it, if they had a championship caliber defense, we'd be in the Super Bowl right now. I don't think there's any question about that. If we had a defense that could preserve a 17-point lead at halftime, we'd be in the Super Bowl right now. So the problem isn't the offense. The problem isn't Ben Johnson. Like you said, a possible dynasty in the making when you look at how young these players are. These 4 rookies made a huge impact. Enough so for me to say that this was a historic draft in 2023. Now we got another draft coming up in Detroit. Would have been awesome to be the NFC champion for that draft coming up in April, but not to be. Disheartening. Be sure to put it in the comments what you think. Is Ben Johnson staying here in Detroit? How big a deal is that? It looks like Paul Jones says so, stoked. Meanwhile, Jeremy B says, meh. Not that big a deal to Jeremy, I guess. Charles says, Lions need to draft Mikey Sanderstill from Michigan to help that secondary make plays. Well, Charles, I'll agree with you one thing. They need to draft some cornerback help. They might need some help in the free agent market as well. And I was thinking about something, Russ. I hate to throw you a curveball, Russ, but something that I've been chewing on all night was something we talked about on the show yesterday. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he's a free agent. Do you want the Lions to bring him back? Yesterday I said, yes, bring him back, bring him back. Today I've changed my mind after I've chewed on it for a while. For the price he's going to command, look at all the games we won without him. We could get another player cheaper, maybe 2 players for what we were paying him and maybe get the same results. So while I think he's a good player, and the cheap shot on Debo didn't leave that big a bad taste in my mouth. These guys had beef all the way back to college. So I just don't think that the production for what we paid him this year warrants bringing him back. Let me know what you think on that one too. How about you, Russ? What do you think of that? Should CJ come back?
Well, you know what? I commented on it yesterday, and I'm still in the same boat where Dan Campbell. Let me put my camera on here. Let me get in here with that, because the thing is like, I don't mind a good smack talker. If you want to go out there and you want to run your mouth and you want to back it up, that's fine. But what Dan Campbell said was, I don't mind the trash talk. Just don't get personal fouls. So the minute when we were in that game and everybody was cheering in the Lions Den about him hitting that guy from behind, which was Deebo Samuel, making it personal and costing us 15 yards, that's exactly what Dan Campbell was talking about. So I love Dan Campbell. I love his aggressiveness. I love him as my coach. And my coach said, don't make any personal fouls. I'd be very surprised if they bring back C.J. Gardner-Johnson because of what you just said. We have the defense was just fine on that back end, on the safety end, the entire season. That was one of the strengths of the team without him. And when he came back, it seemed like he caused more problems than he was worth. So, CJ, I'm sorry, man, but you just don't fit this culture. Some of the guys that are out there that are really good, they just don't fit what we're trying to do here. And I don't think CJ's that.
And to back that point up, Jeremy also agrees with you, I think. He says, I do not want the mouth that can't cash the checks back in CJ GJ. So, some people are on that train as well with me.
Well, I don't mind the mouth. That's the main thing I want to. I don't mind them. You can talk all you want. We had Rasheed Wallace in this town, and everybody was fine with it. It's like, as long as you back it up and you don't go out there and cost games. That was a interception that I think he brought it all the way back to like the 20-yard line that went back 15 yards because he wanted to hit Deebo without him looking. Mm-hmm. So I don't want that kind of guy here. I mean, he may back it up with his play. He might back it up with his play. He did this year, but he's a good player, and he's going to go somewhere and get a bag.
Right, and that was on a big turnover interception by the Lions, and he cost us 15 yards on that play with that cheap shot, and that's not acceptable. Okay, it was unnecessary. The refs are out to get you already, so don't make it easy for them. Jeremy here, Beaumont says, let Sutton go and pick up a seasoned player. Also let DJ go. Sorry, Jeremy, they've got Cam Sutton under contract for 3 years. He's not going anywhere. Let's just hope that we can improve the secondary and that Cam Sutton then becomes the floor, right? I thought Cam Sutton played adequate. He's not a shutdown number one corner, but guess what? We don't pay him that way either. You get what you pay for, unless it's Emmanuel Mosley, then you do not.
Well, I mean, let me touch on that a little bit right there, because I think that when you're looking at Cam Sutton, I think that he gets the short end of the stick because he is being asked to guard the other team's best wide receiver. There's no way I would want to get rid of Cam Sutton. I just don't want him being my number one cornerback. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy, don't think just because he played bad against the number one quarterback that he's garbage. I mean, he's worth $10 million a year, number two, covering the number two cornerback. You throw Jalen Ramsey on this team, and all of a sudden, Cam Sutton looks nice and yummy at number two, at the number two corner. He can cover the slot. He can cover the, as a nickel corner. He can do that. He's just not a number one. And he got exposed this year. And Aaron Glenn actually took a lot of crap for the defense because he was playing behind the 8 ball of talent all year long. I mean, what are you going to do about it? Well, they can fix that this offseason, because there ain't a lot of holes on this team. So you can go out and get a number one corner and another defensive end to pass rush opposite of Aiden. And then all of a sudden, whoa, that defense looks way different as Cam Sutton as your slot, and you got a couple corners that came in that are even better. Your safeties are set. Your linebackers are set. Aiden Hutchinson's a stud. Aleem's a stud. You bring in another pass rusher. Holy crap, this defense might take a huge jump next year. And
Continue to jump.
Maybe the D coordinator.
Continue to jump, because this defense started in 2021 at 32. And they've slowly, every year, climbed up a few spots. They keep getting a little better as they infuse talent. And last year, let's face it, they really addressed the offense by drafting Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta. And this year, I think there's going to be a much bigger focus on the defense. Like you said, Russ, bring in a good corner. Jeremy B here says, Adoree Jackson or Chidobe Ozzie are my free agent targets at quarterback. That's a great call, Jeremy, but I could even see us going bigger than that, right? I could see us swinging a trade, making a splash move, trading some draft capital to get like a Patrick Surtain or somebody even a higher tier than those guys that you mentioned, but love the comment. Fred Peterson says, we are villains, not thugs. That blindside hit is a thug move.
Yes.
Hard not to agree with that, Fred. Hard not to agree with that. Yeah. Fred Peterson also says it was nearly a 25-yard penalty from where Rodrigo ran to where the ball was placed, nearly 25 yards. Great call out there as well.
And that's it, man.
Yeah, it killed our momentum. Like Paul says, it killed our momentum.
Well, and we don't want to, we want to be aggressive. We want to take it, like Dan said, right up to the limit. I want to hit you as close to the limit, but legal all the way. But we want to play as aggressive as we can underneath the rules that are there. And that's just over and above, man. You just went over and above. Stop being like that. We don't want to be like that. We don't want to be thug villains. We want to be sophisticated villains that wear suits, that help ladies across the street, that steal from the rich and give to the poor. The Robin Hood villains that still have self-respect. There's still a universal law to our villainship.
Right.
Right. I got a list of free agents here if we want to. I know we hit it yesterday, but I don't know if these people had a chance to comment on this yet. But on my little free agent list and now these are just Lions free agents right here, and I got kind of clowned and said, man, you guys got all these free agents. What are you going to do about them? So I'm going to list them all off to you and see if there's any huge red flags for everybody that's out there. Exclusive rights free agents: James Houston, Zonovan Knight, and Khalil Dorsey. Now that means that we pretty much can have those guys for a veteran minimum contract, and there ain't really anything they can do about it. That's just kind of, it is what it is right there. So any one of those guys we can keep, and we can keep them cheap. Restricted free agents: Brock Wright, Benito Jones, Jerry Jacobs, and Shane Zylstra. Now, Shane Zylstra's career might be over, so that one might be off of the list right there. But, I mean, all three of those guys are potential to bring back for a bag of chips and some Doritos and some Funyuns. All three of those guys. Undrafted free agents: Donovan Peoples-Jones, Jason Kabinda.
You mean unrestricted free agents?
Unrestricted free agent. What did I say?
Undrafted.
Unrestricted free agents. Okay, my bad. I misspoke. Jason Kabinda, Kendall Vildor. Oh my!
Hello?
Are you losing me?
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up and your screen froze. Try it now.
Okay, am I still breaking up?
You're a little shaky, but go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay, I'm just gonna finish here. Josh Reynolds,
Remix. Russ is having some technical problems.
Maven.
Oh. Yeah, you're cutting out, bro. Yeah, so Kendall Vildor is on that list. I think we're all in agreement he can go, right? He can go.
Go ahead, take over, Mike.
I got you. So I think Kendall Vildor can go, no doubt about that one. Khalil Dorsey, these guys are role players. We can find them anywhere else. If they want to stay, if we can get them on the cheap. I mean, right, isn't that what we're talking about here, guys? If all of these free agents that Russ are listing, if we can get them on the cheap, I don't see any deficiencies with these guys where it's like, oh, this guy's got to go, except Kendall Vildor. I have a really hard time, and it's not the bounce off the face mask. It's the leaving the feet and flopping on the ground on multiple plays in multiple games. And then he'll do something great, like really wrap up and stop the yards after catch. And I'm like, okay, this guy's all right. And then, boom, CeeDee Lamb, 92 yards because he just flops on the ground. You got Kendall Vildor matched up against Justin Jefferson in Week 18 on a fourth down, one-on-one, terrible on Aaron Glenn's part to leave that poor kid out there with the best receiver on the planet on a one-on-one on a fourth down with no backside help, you're not setting that kid up to succeed, and he doesn't have the skills to do it on his own. So, like we said, Cam Sutton, if he becomes the floor of that secondary next year, we could be looking at a championship defense. I know we all trust Brad Holmes as Lions fans to get it all done in the offseason. It is Lions Wednesday here on Football Talk with Russell Wayne. Are you back, Russ?
I don't know. I think I did fix something. Does that make a difference?
The lag, there's a lag. Like we hear you, and then your mouth moves afterwards. But you're good to go. Go ahead.
Romeo Okwara, Charles Harris, Chauncey Gardner. Those were the last three that I didn't get in. And I don't know, you were talking about it for a little bit right there. And even if I'm coming here, I'll take the delay off. There you go. Now you can just see the little thing moving as long as you can hear me.
There you go. Exactly. We can hear you well.
So, yeah, Romeo Okwara, he could, any of these guys that are mentioned on here, besides Jonah Jackson, would cost money. Like that would take some money. Graham Glasgow is probably going to cost a little more. Chauncey Gardner would cost a little bit more. But nobody else really on this list is going to break the bank. I mean, any one of those other guys you want to bring back on the team that were part of this team, you're probably going to be able to get for a bag of chips and some Doritos. So there's nothing on here. We got $58 million to play with right here. Jeremy put a nice piece out this morning on the Motor City Kneecap Biting group where he talked about how the guaranteed money from the rookie contracts cost about $20 million to get everything done, you know, with the extensions and everything like that. So we're going to have about $40 million after signing our draft class to go get some guys. And that's without doing anything special with like the Jared Goff, like getting more money that way, or, you know, kicking the can down the street with Taylor Decker, adding a couple of years, you could get more money that way. There's a lot of other things that you can do, but the Lions are set up really, really good with a roster that doesn't have an incredible amount of holes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And those other three names that you mentioned, Julian Okwara, Charles Harris, and Chauncey Gardner. We talked about Chauncey Gardner. He's an unrestricted free agent. Okwara was already released and cleared waivers, and now he's back on the practice squad. So I don't think we need to do anything with him. He's there on the practice squad. You can never have too many D linemen or too many pass rushers, so I think we keep him. Charles Harris, on the other hand, had one good year here. One good year. He was a healthy scratch for a lot of games. He's definitely not paid out dividends for what we paid him. I'm 90% sure that Charles Harris will be gone. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, that's a tough one, though. That is a tough one. Obviously, the guy's a skilled player. I mean, he's an outstanding player. Let's put all the trash talk and all that stuff aside. Let's just look at what kind of player he is. And he energizes the locker room. Had we made it to the Super Bowl, I would have pointed to the return of CJ and said, this is what got us over the hump. This is what got this defense to the Super Bowl. But it didn't happen. Okay? It did not happen. We had him a total of what? 4 regular season games? Is that all we had him for? So I just can't see the value there for the price that he's going to command. Obviously, what he could get somewhere else. I just can't see the value there to keep him. So Charles Harris gone. Okwara, you don't have to do anything with because he's already on your practice squad. And CJ, that's up in the air. Of course, all of these players come with the caveat, if they're on the cheap, you keep them.
Right. Well, what about the other Okwara, Mike? The Romeo Okwara is also on that list.
Right, but Romeo restructured his contract. I think we got him. In fact, I see Jeremy here in the comments says Romeo with his restructure last year is still on the roster.
Well, I'm going off an ESPN list right here that came right from ESPN, and these are the ones that they said are unrestricted free agents. So I think what happened is Romeo restructured his contract to be done after this year to where we're going to be able to work our magic with him, which I don't think that he's going to cost an incredible amount either. So if Jeremy's right, then ESPN is wrong.
Right.
Because I'm not making stuff up. I mean, I took that. That's where I got that info. Yeah. So as far as these pending free agents, you got to think about Jonah Jackson, but they've already reached out and said that that Graham Glasgow is going to be a priority in this offseason. They've reached out to him because he's such a big part. He's so versatile, and having a backup center guard is invaluable. And plus, he's going to be the starting guard, But in pinches where, things aren't going right, it's really nice to have a guy that be like, oh, okay, well, you're our starting guard. Well, we need you at center. And then you can because guard's a little bit, I don't want to say easier than center, but you got to be a special player to be in the middle, commanding, hiking the ball to the quarterback. So that's awesome. I would love to have him back. And there's 4 out of 5 of our offensive linemen that are going to return for next year. And you drafted a guy, Colby Sorsdahl. Eventually that dude's going to take over once he gets up to the speed of the game. And
yeah, he had a tough rookie year though, Russ. His rookie year was pretty tough. His PFF grades were bad. He played multiple positions on the offensive line this year, but not good results. In fact, when Jonah Jackson went down, they brought in Awasika to play. Whereas, in the offseason, we're thinking in a situation like that, this is where we're counting on that rookie to step up. And he was not up to the task. In fact, the coaches did not feel he was up to the task, and they decided to start Awasika instead. Jeremy's saying that I must be wrong about Julian Okwara. I did see a report that he had re-signed to the practice squad, but Jeremy says that isn't true. So that is possible. I'll have to research that and find out if that's correct. Donkey Kong says, Super Bowl or bust. The Saints are over the cap by $85 million. Marshawn Lattimore could be attainable. He's on. That would be amazing.
There it is.
He's on the backside of his career. He is an outstanding corner, though, but he's on the backside of his career. Mickey Loomis, the GM for the Saints, is a wizard. Okay, he's the best of the best, one of the best for sure. He might find a way to get that done. The Saints were a big disappointment this year. They did not exceed expectations. In fact, they underwhelmingly fell short of expectations. Derek Carr's a bum. I've said it since day one. And Mickey Loomis is going to have to do something to get under that cap. And maybe Marshawn Lattimore is a guy that the Lions could bring in. So I love that call out. Thank you for that.
I love that. And then the other piece, obviously, we want to get into is this. I mean, we're going to be talking about this until it happens, one way or the other. And in your opinion, has Goff earned a contract extension for you out there? Put that in the comments right there. I think we have an overwhelming attaboy response for Jared Goff, how he's turned it around, the way people thought about him when he got here and the way they feel about him now. I think he's earned the contract extension, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm on record. 100% he's earned it. We didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but it wasn't Jared Goff's fault. I mean, how many teams can you point to and say they fell short? Most of the time it's because of quarterback play. In this instance, it was not. It was simply the worst defense in the playoffs, and it showed. It showed. The facts always bear it out, right? They always flesh it out. And when you're running with the 26th ranked pass defense, you're probably not going to make it to the Super Bowl. Kevin James says, our biggest position of need on defense is defensive tackle. We get no pressure up the middle. Russ, what do you think of that? Because I know you're a huge Aleem McNeil fan.
Well, I mean, you can never have enough defensive linemen. I mean, you want high impact guys. We have a bunch of defensive line. The ones that aren't Aleem McNeil are a bunch of guys that are just players, right? They plug the holes. They can come in and do their thing, but they need another impact guy there. Levi was drafted to be that guy, and he's kind of proven to be a guy. He's proven that he's not worth a second-round pick, but he's also proven that he's not a bust, which is he's going out there taking meaningful snaps, but you want more out of your second-round pick. So, yeah, you want to put another guy in there. We were talking about that. Give me a Vita Vea or, somebody to put next to him that is wrecking ship. Put a guy there, give me another pass rusher, give me a shutdown corner, and that defense is snapping.
Mm-hmm. Kevin James says, run it back with Goff. Sonia says, keep Goff. Adam says, I'd say yes, but not as high as he's going to want. He has one of the best lines and a ton of weapons. A lot of QBs would love to have that chance with that offense. That may be true, Adam, but without Jared Goff, you just stick some other, jabroni in there.
Yeah,
you like that? You like that? Jabroni. You stick some other jabroni. You see how they use that word in context? You like that, don't you? Jabroni.
The jabroni.
You stick any other jabroni in there, and I don't think we get where we are. The Goffense was built by Ben Johnson and Jared Goff together around what he does well. It's not fair. It's almost a jaded point of view to look at it and say, well, look at these weapons in that line. Any stiff could have went in there and done that. No, man, playing quarterback in the NFL is the hardest position in any sport. You got to have it right between the ears as well as the physical tools. And Jared Goff was a master this year. He had a few bad games, especially with the turnovers. He went through a stretch of just his biorhythms were off or something, because he went through a horrible stretch there where people were calling for his head. But he righted the ship down the stretch, as we all kind of predicted that he would. And, man, I love our quarterback. You remember, Russ, I had to shave my head last year. You remember?
Yep.
I had to shave my head because Jared Goff, I was so bashing this guy. I thought he looked like a baby giraffe coming out of the womb when he would try to scramble. And I was not impressed with this guy. But as the second half of last season rolled on, and as this season got started, I was like, man, this is the guy. He made a believer out of me. And if he hasn't made a believer out of you, don't worry, he will next year when Lions, I guarantee, they will extend Jared Goff.
Yeah, let me get in on that one right there. Like, you got to stop slighting Goff, all right? He got here making $30 million a year, and he has had two top 10 performances in a row. That's 2 years in a row. This is not fluke. This is 2 years of top 10 quarterback play. Now, he has been paid like a top 22 quarterback in the league. This man deserves his money. Anything less than $45 million a year is us getting a bargain. So if this thing looked at $50 million a year, you got to pay it, guys. This is the going rate for quarterbacks. You don't just get to go, well, he's got all these other. No, he's making the plays. Quarterback still has to drop back, make the throw. It's not something that everybody can do. I've seen great offensive lines and shitty quarterbacks. It doesn't help. It doesn't help unless your quarterback can play the position. And Jared Goff has played the position very, very well. I wouldn't want any other quarterback. Hendon Hooker's not ready. So let's get it done. You don't have to extend him for like 20 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. Stick 2 more years at the end of his contract. Have him be done in 27. You'll still have Hendon Hooker developing in there. Then you got a Jordan Love situation. Mm-hmm. Is it that bad of a thing to have 2 good quarterbacks? One of them that can run? That's how Hendon Hooker's going to get his shot in the NFL. If something happens to Goff and he goes down, then you got a guy that's sitting right there, boom, ready in the wings. Make your name, baby.
Right.
Drew Bledsoe had Tom Brady behind him. How long? 2 years? Was that? So, yeah. Pay this man. I mean, I think it's a done deal. I mean, come on, man. This guy just took us to the NFC Championship. We ain't seen that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, unless you're old like me and Mike, then you might remember 1991.
Right. We've talked about this ad nauseum. There's a difference between a running quarterback and a mobile quarterback. What we're seeing in the Super Bowl this year is and last year is mobile quarterbacks, not running quarterbacks. So these running quarterbacks will only get you so far, is what it's shown. Someday, maybe a running quarterback will win a Super Bowl, but it's not going to be this year. Right. Somewhere in here, I got a really good comment in here. Right here. Susan says, we need 2 guys who could tackle running quarterbacks who look like Houdini when they play us. So talking about the defense, kind of going back away from the quarterback position, talking about back to the defense here. These running quarterbacks are the trendy new thing, but they haven't bared it out yet that that's a winning formula. You need to be able to throw from the pocket if you're an NFL quarterback to succeed. Sure, when containment breaks down, you need to be able to get out of the pocket. And some of our commenters are here saying that Goff is not that guy. He can't make anything happen with his legs when the play breaks down. But, a lot of great quarterbacks who came before him had that same deficiency, so I'm not worried about that one bit.
Well, yeah, but when you spend $100 million on your offensive line, then you're spending money on him not having to escape the pocket. Okay? So you can have these mobile quarterbacks, but look at the PFF scores on Patrick Mahomes in that last game where him and his skill players are all up at the top and his offensive line is trash. So do you want a trash offensive line or do you want and there's no guarantees you're going to get Mahomes when you take that mobile quarterback. There's a lot more misses with mobile quarterbacks than there are pocket quarterbacks. You're taking a swing because this guy might be able to throw the ball too. Oh, yeah. But the difference between a running quarterback and a mobile quarterback is, if you got, 5 to 10, run plays that are put into the offense that aren't escape the pocket running, then you're running quarterback. If you have packages that allow you to run from the quarterback position, then you are a running quarterback. Now, if you're calling pass plays and the play breaks down and then you run because the play broke down, then you're mobile. It's that simple.
Right. And we've been over that many times. The bottom line is there's no doubt that Jared Goff is a top 10 in the entire league quarterback. He is.
Yep.
If you can't name 9 quarterbacks you'd take ahead of Goff, you might be able to find 5 or 6 in your opinion that you would take ahead of Goff, but they're certainly not 9. He is in the top 10 of all quarterbacks on the planet. So pay him as such. We are fortunate to have him. We were 30 minutes away from winning the Matt Stafford trade. As soon as this team makes it to a Super Bowl with Jared Goff, we win that trade when you consider where the two franchises were at the time of the trade.
Well, they both win. You win the Super Bowl when you win the trade, right? But the consistency of the years, the Lions have had a consistent, better team the last 2 years. So they are winning the trade. They're getting theirs back when it comes to this. But Brad Holmes would tell you, and he has told you, that it's a lot easier to get worse at the quarterback position than it is to get better. And I think that you're going to see that in this offseason. And this $45 million deal that they're going to do right here, whatever, maybe it's $50 million. They're not going to have to pay $50 million on the cap the first year. That's the beauty of signing bonuses, where you're kicking that down the money down the years, a couple years, and then you get to spend money on getting contracts for this year to win the Super Bowl. And they're not all in yet. Most of their guys are on rookie contracts. They're going to have a couple of years where Brad Holmes is going to be able to pull a rabbit out of his hat, find some player like Lattimore that would come here cheaper to play on a 1-year deal because he wants to win a Super Bowl.
Right. And he's familiar with, and I love that call out by our viewer too, by the way, because the Saints connection with Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn sounds like a great match. Good call out, commenter. That's one I hadn't heard yet. Henry Gray says, give Goff his bag. Don't be a dick like Sean McVay. Sorry, Henry. I kind of elaborated there. Jeremy says, I wouldn't extend Goff yet. He's under contract. That's a great point. We don't have to do anything. But I think you're talking about extending him to free up more cap money.
Correct.
Right? And to reward him for our first division title in 30 years. This team rallies around him. This team loves him, okay? You bring in another quarterback, you're going to change all the chemistry. You're going to change all the culture. Trust me, folks. Brad Holmes has no intention of getting rid of Jared Goff.
Yeah.
They'll either not do a thing and keep him, or they'll extend him and keep him. That guy's here to stay for a few years, I promise you. Go ahead, Russ.
Let me ask Jeremy how that worked out, waiting to the last year of the contract for Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
Like, let's not play games here. Yeah, we can also wait till the end of the year to sign Amon-Ra St. Brown in his 4th year. But does that mean that we shouldn't get it done in the offseason and re-sign Amon-Ra St. Brown? Like, we're not going to be dumb, Jeremy. This is not going to. This regime is too smart to let this opportunity slip out the door.
Well
right here.
said. Well said, Russ.
$32 million. The cap number is $32 million for Jared Goff this year. That's cheap. And his base salary is $22 million. They could get almost $20 million of extra freed up cap space if they kick the can down the road 2 years.
Brent says Hooker has an arm on him and he doesn't throw ducks. Well, that's a good call out, Brent. But you know what? He was a 3rd-round draft pick, and we've got a top 10 quarterback in the league. Those don't grow on trees, okay? We don't have the luxury of letting this guy learn, bringing in Hendon Hooker and letting him develop it to the pro game. We don't have that luxury. It's Super Bowl or bust now after this season. The pressure's on the Lions next year. Make no mistake about that.
Yeah, only way Hooker's getting in the next couple of years is an injury. And that's good to have, right? We got a great 1-2 punch in Goff and Hendon Hooker. That's great. This talk that he's having about Hooker, I think, is going to be a lot louder next year, even with the contract extension. Because if you extend Goff and he plays out of his mind and you want to move on to Hooker, well, then you got a draft commodity where you could get a couple 1st-round draft picks out of a top 10 stud. You want to see how much Goff is worth? Trade him. You want to see how much he's worth? And you want to see how dumb your take is about the Goff not being worth all that money? Watch and see what other teams will pay for him now. When he does get traded, he's going to get a 1st-round pick. He's still 29 years old. He's in the prime of his career. He just went to an NFC championship. He's been to a Super Bowl.
If you put if you put Brock Purdy on the Detroit Lions, what kind of season do we have?
I think it would be similar.
No, no way. A rookie on this team coming in. We don't have the roster that San Francisco does. Okay, Jared Goff is the spark. Jared Goff is the catalyst.
No, okay. So you're assuming that Jared Goff is better than Purdy when you make that statement.
100,000%, he's a better quarterback than Brock Purdy. He's not as mobile, but he's a better leader quarterback at this stage. I don't care what anyone says,
and that's fine.
I'm not saying Brock Purdy won't be better, but right now he is not. If you'd have put Brock Purdy on the 2023 Detroit Lions, I doubt we even win the division.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, it's yet to be seen how good Brock Purdy could be. Seemed like he was pretty clutch in that game. He didn't let the game get to him and everything like that. But I don't want to go there, Brock Purdy versus Goff, because Purdy just beat Goff, and that's just that kind of sucks like that, you know. And we may have beaten ourselves with drop passes and fumbles and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it's like, there it is. You put him on this team, I think it could be similar because of our coaching. I think our coaching did put Goff in really good positions, and good quarterbacks that can manage the game, I think could be good in our offense. Our offense can protect him. Our offense can run the football.
Right.
So
Jeremy Chase here says Hooker isn't that much younger than Goff. Maybe 3 years difference? Stick with Goff. Yeah, I think it's even less than that. I think it might be 2 years difference, right? Oh, maybe 3, maybe 4 years, right? He was 25 coming out of college, and Goff was 28. So yeah, 3 years difference. That's a good call out. Paul says, I hope they offer Teddy Bridgewater a job with the team. He was a huge influence to both Goff and Hooker. Yeah, that's one thing that hasn't been mentioned anywhere, really. The retirement of Teddy Bridgewater. He did announce he was going to retire. I don't know if 1 year with this staff and this regime would warrant him getting a job. I mean, we don't know what kind of skills this guy has as a coach or as some sort of assistant. Sad to see what happened to Teddy Bridgewater with all that promise and a absolutely devastating knee injury there in Minnesota. And they treated him like garbage and just ushered him right out the door. But you know what? He was able to stick in the league for 10 years, folks. That's way above the average. So kudos to Teddy Bridgewater. Congratulations on a good career, and we wish you all the best in your retirement.
Beautiful thing. So there's some good things to be happy about on this Detroit Lions type of day right here. It's hump day. It's Wednesday. It's football talk with Russell Wayne. And actually, more importantly today, it's Lions talk. And we got good news. That was the good news. You got Ben Johnson coming back. And that's great news to me. If it ain't big news to you, then maybe you've been living underneath of a rock. But this guy turned down 2 head coaching jobs to stay here and run the best offense in the NFL for 1 more year. And that was the biggest thing on anybody's mind. I mean, who would we have gotten as an offensive coordinator to replace him? I have no idea. I don't know if that guy was on the roster, but I feel a lot more confident about Aaron Glenn leaving, and not because I think that he's a bad coordinator, but if he takes a head coaching job, I believe that Kelvin Shepard will be our next defensive coordinator, and I don't think they'll miss a beat. As a matter of fact, I think the defense will still ascend with all of the talent that comes in.
Continue to ascend for sure. Here's a good topic. The reports are there's mutual interest between the Detroit Lions and Graham Glasgow to bring him back. I think it's a great move. His versatility, he played outstanding this year. Every Tuesday we go over the PFF grades. Graham Glasgow was in the top 5 every week, it seemed like. A lot of miles left on the tires with that guy. I could definitely see Graham Glasgow coming in for a 2 or 3 year contract. We know Vitai's not coming back, right? We know Scott Nelson isn't coming back. Jonah Jackson's a free agent. And one of our commenters in here, here it is, Rob, he says, I love Goff, but his lack of mobility requires a great O-line. Can we maintain this O-line for Goff indefinitely? We've seen what a mobile QB can do for you. It's a great call out, Rob. And I think if you're going to keep Goff, like you say, investing in that O-line is a must. You've got to keep this O-line intact, and I think they will. They built this team the right way, in the trenches. That's where you start, and that's exactly what they've done. So I think that's going to continue.
You know, I think the biggest thing about the mobile quarterbacks is like you're talking like 4 or 5 plays a game, guys, and sometimes those plays don't mean all that much in the grand scheme. Like what Goff offers is like stability on the other 90% of the game, where you're distributing the ball to your playmakers. And the strength of our team is the offensive line and the playmaker. Like Goff can be himself. What's the best version of Goff? When he can sit back, he surveys the field. He's got this receiver, this receiver, this receiver. Oh, you're more open. I'm a good distributor if I'm Jared Goff. We have all these players in speed, Laporta, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, and, you know, all over the place. Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield, David Montgomery out of the backfield. All kinds of these weapons all over the place. And what Goff does well is plays that Drew Brees game where he can, who's open? Mm-hmm. He's great at it. And if he's clean, he's the best in the league. Yes, keep the offensive line, keep the band together. Keep them physical monsters up front. God, you could drive a truck through some of them holes that they were opening up for David Montgomery against that best defense in the league.
Apparently not everyone is happy that Ben Johnson is staying in Detroit. Jeremy B says, I was hoping we'd finally get someone who'd be able to play call in the third quarter. Whoa!
Hot take.
Shots fired by Jeremy B. That's a hot take, man. You want the hottest young coaching prospect in the game to be gone? I mean, you think all these teams want him because he's a bum? Thanks for the comment.
Hey,
thanks for the comment,
but
I'm not going to be able to agree with that one.
Oh, not at all.
I like this from Jordan.
It's the home of the bad takes. Somebody's wrong.
If Aaron Glenn takes a head coaching job, I hope we don't play the team he goes to. He has too much knowledge about this team. But you know what, Jordan? We have a lot of knowledge about him, too. We know exactly where the deficiencies are in his game and how to exploit them. That wouldn't bother me one bit.
And to tell you the truth, Jeremy, I know that's a hot take out there, man, but you got to be careful on some of the hot takes because you're not right now. Ben Johnson was just leading a top 3 offense in the NFL and got offered the highest paid coaching job that was out there. And they were going to offer him whatever he wanted. And all Ben Johnson has done is succeed. And if you want to micromanage and go into his third quarter play calling and think that he's garbage just because of the third quarter, nobody else feels your way. Nobody else feels it.
I don't know, Russ. There's some validity there, okay? Hear me out here. Third quarter, when you come out of halftime, the other team has made adjustments to what you did in the first half. You have to be equipped and ready to counter those adjustments. And to Jeremy's point, this team, specifically offensively and defensively, have come out flat in the third quarter all year long. So I think there is some validity to what Jeremy's saying there. It hasn't been good in the third quarter. I don't think this is just
talking about garbage.
Yeah, but
we're not talking about garbage here. You're talking about not a deficiency. You're talking about a couple of games where he didn't do well in the third quarter, and now you're taking that third quarter.
You're downplaying. Oh, wait a minute. You're downplaying a couple of games. It's been all year.
I'm not downplaying. You guys are overplaying.
No.
The guy had a top 3 offense in the NFL and went to the NFC Championship. You guys have the burden of proof. You can't go to a couple third quarters and tell me, oh, well, that wipes away everything that he did. That's what Jeremy's trying to do, and now you're trying to back him up.
No, you're totally downplaying. When you say it's a couple of games, you know damn well you're downplaying that because you and I sit there in the Lions Den and I go, third quarter. I'm looking over at you every game. And Jeremy's looked it up. In fact, Jeremy's looked it up while we're talking, and he says here 3 total TDs and 2 field goals in 2 seasons. Is that a couple of games? No, all I'm saying is I'm glad the guy's here. I think he's great. I'm so happy. But let's not ignore there's a problem in the third quarter.
So let's fire him.
No, let's just not ignore it. Let's not be a freaking homer and downplay it because there's a real problem in the third quarter.
I'm not downplaying it.
Then admit it.
I can acknowledge that he struggled in the third quarter, but I can also go into that third quarter, and I can also say that Ben Johnson drew up a play on 4th and 2 where Jared Goff executed it, threw the ball, and that ball bounced off a player's hand.
Sure.
Now, how the hell is that Ben Johnson's fault?
Because that's one play on one series. Okay. We're talking about a whole quarter all season.
So we're micromanaging. You went in and micromanaged the third quarter, so we might as well go in and micromanage the plays of the third quarter that have happened. How many times was a penalty called on the offensive line that put them at 2nd and 20 in the third quarter? How many times did players make mistakes in the third quarter that put them behind the 8 ball? And the defense made mistakes in the third quarter to put them behind the 8 ball.
I like Sean's comment here. He's backing you up. Sure. Let's just throw out quarters 1, 2, and 4. Stop it. That's valid.
I mean, it's okay. The thing is like, I'm on here going, hey, I'm happy that he's not leaving. And right now, I want you or Jeremy to come up with a better candidate to come in as offensive coordinator for this team right now. Captain third quarters. What do you got?
I'm not saying fire the guy. I'm not saying he sucks. I'm just saying we've got to be mature enough to say there has been a problem in the third quarter. I'm not saying throw out the other 3 quarters where the guy's a wizard.
Yeah.
I'm just saying let's not put our head in the sand like an ostrich and say that it doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, that it kind of doesn't exist because those third quarters turned into fourth quarters that turned into 12 victories. So I don't know what you guys are talking about right there, because if you find a way to win the game, I don't give a shit what the third quarters look like. Yeah, you got to fix some stuff. Nobody is perfect. Kendall Vildor falls down.
Jordan calls it the turd quarter.
The third quarter.
The turd quarter.
God, in that third quarter, I watched Josh Reynolds drop 2 passes, one on 3rd down and one on 4th down. Either one of them would have won the game for us because it would have extended that drive and we would have went up 3 scores. You know why Dan Campbell doesn't want to kick a 40-yard field goal or 45-yard field goal? Because Badgley is 9 of 20 between 40 and 49 yards. It is not his strong suit.
Okay. Boy, that third quarter, it's a catalyst, buddy. It's a powder keg waiting to explode, that third quarter discussion.
Well, I mean, you and Jeremy versus the rest of the universe.
Okay, we're the only
I mean, if you want to call it a powder keg. Hey, still home with a bad take. So even if there's only a couple people that feel that way, then I guess it's a powder keg.
Bear Down Mike says blew a 17-point lead in the championship game. Damn shame. I mean, I know Bear Down Mike's a great guy and a great fan, and I don't see that as a backhanded trash talk either. So, thanks for the comment, Mike.
Yeah, I know all these people that came in. Like, all of you guys, let me tell you something about trolling. If you spent 18 weeks coming onto this show, and I'm not going to call anybody out specifically because you know who you are. You spent 18 weeks on this show with us, coming in the comments and doing all that thing, and you weren't trolling me, right? And all of a sudden, after this game was over, if you end up in my DM, you're a troll. You're a troll if you end up in my DM talking smack right now.
All right. I like this comment from Sean. Also, let's not forget that this staff is milking the current roster of everything they have. You're damn right they are. We did not have more talent than any of the other playoff teams. Agreed. We overachieved. Agreed. Just wait till our roster catches up. Agreed. Check. That's a great take. Thank you so much. What do you got?
There we go. I had that thing happen that happens to you when I got a phone call from a scam artist, and it takes me out of the feed. I don't care about the call. I hit ignore.
Curtis says, obviously, we need to address the third quarter. Embarrassing professional NFL team in the third quarter. Ben needs to stop scheming differently in that third quarter. Jameson takes over Josh Reynolds' role next year. And that's that last part of that comment that I want to throw at you, Russ. Does Jameson take over Josh Reynolds' role next year?
Absolutely.
By the way, Jameson Williams dropped a pass for a touchdown. Jameson Williams over the shoulder in the end zone. Ball hit him in the hands. I can give you 15 receivers in this league that would have caught that ball.
Well, he also caught a touchdown pass that was in traffic. Also caught a ball in the air that he ripped away from another receiver or another cornerback. So Jameson has obviously gotten better this year from where he was at the beginning of the year. Guy couldn't even get on the field at the beginning of the year. And, definitely not looking like the 12th overall pick for the first 2 years, but started looking more like the 12th overall pick more at the end of the year. And hopefully with those extra, I mean, he can come in as a bona fide number 2 like we thought he was going to be this year, and maybe even take over that number 1 slot as a playmaker and put Amon-Ra where he needs to be, right in the slot, slicing people up in the middle.
Yeah, Jeremy, go back and watch the replay. That's a ball he should have caught. You know it. You know it. Don't deny it. You know he should have caught that ball. Jason MC, our resident Viking fan, you guys had a great year. Congrats. Skol. Thanks so much, Jason. Thanks for being on the show all year long. We really appreciate all these other fan bases coming in to support their team. We respect you and your fandom more than you know.
Just don't slide into my DM because you've never done it before, okay? You don't all of a sudden, just because we lose. Like, if you were sliding into my DM the whole time and talking shit with me, and we've had that type of relationship, that's not trolling, right? But we haven't had that kind of relationship. So if you're sliding into my DM now, all of a sudden, then you're trolling. And just recognize that. And you know who you are. And there's more than one of you. So Just remember that. You have a chance right now. Troll me. You've been trolling me all year. I don't mind it in the comments. Throw it in there. I mean, I'm not right. This is the home of the bad takes, man. We're right. We're wrong most of the time here. We're all wrong.
And
how often did we get it right, Mike?
Right. Do you see the ESPN logo anywhere on our graphics? I don't think so. So I love this discussion, though. Let's face it, the Lions season, we should be in week 3 of the offseason normally. Instead, we're on day 3. So an incredible season. I was in a really bad place on Monday. I feel much better today. I'm ready to start looking ahead. And folks, don't forget, here at the Main Event 365, it's called that for a reason. 365 days a year, we're bringing you football content. We are about, as soon as the Super Bowl ends, we're about to shift gears. We're going to focus on the combine, free agency, the draft. When the schedule's released, that's a big one for us here. We love to analyze the schedule release. So stick with us year-round. Follow us on Facebook, Lions Villain Squad. Join our public group where you can post and comment anything that you want. It's called Lions Main Event, MANE, Lions Main Event. By the way, coming up on 15,000 villains in the group, Lions Main Event. Appreciate you all very much. Join the group, join the conversation, follow our page. Also, we have a YouTube. Subscribe. It's at Main Event 365. All year long, we will be bringing you content, and the NFL's built a year-round model that we will follow throughout the year. So just because the Lions season is over, Russ and I will still be here grinding every single day. You got anything before I go to the comments, kid?
Yeah, I just wanted to double down on that. Yeah, we are going to cover the NFC North, all of the moves that happen within the NFC North as it goes in, because we are Lions fans, but we had a lot of fun doing that last year, and we're not doing the trash talking thing anymore because that needs to work both ways. We unequivocally won the trash talking, and it was proven that the other fan bases could not handle the trash talking from the point of they would leave, and we want to have fun too. So if we were going to do that, we want to be able to trash talk you when your team loses, so you can't go into witness protection. And I'm not talking about the 2 fans that stayed on, like Bear Down Mike and like A-Dub and Steve. Like, I know that there's a handful of guys out there that were there the whole time, but for the most part, the 18 Packer fans and everybody that was talking trash at the beginning of the year decided they wanted to go into witness protection. So we have decided to move away from that, but that does not mean that we're still not going to cover the rest of the NFC North. So we will cover all of the transactions during the offseason. We'll still have guests from some of these other pages, but we're just only broadcasting live into our YouTube page, Detroit Lions News, and the Detroit Lions Villain Squad.
I kind of wanted to plug the February 17th at Machine Shop thing as well. But right now, Russ, we actually have a request. Can Russell do the Macho Man impression of the ass-kicking beware next season comment?
Oh, my God. All right. Oh, yeah, the Detroit Lions, brother. Yeah, this is the Macho Man, Randy Savage. The Detroit Lions are not defeated, man. They were cheated. As a matter of fact, they were cheated by everybody else at Dallas Cowboys. But we ain't crying. The Macho Man's going to go to the top rope at the end of 2024, and he's going to drop the elbow into the heart of 31 other teams, brother. Did he?
Holy crap. Well, it's been a good show here. Can you put that Toology graphic back up?
Oh, yeah.
If you are anywhere near Central Michigan on Saturday, February the 17th, there is a really world famous club called the Machine Shop, where Russ and I will be performing. Russ as the frontman of the #1 tool tribute in the land, Toology. My band, the 99, will be opening. If you are a regular member of this show every morning, DM us, hit us up. We might have a free ticket for you if you're going to be in the area. That is February 17th. What's that?
Not if they're trolling, though.
Not if you're trolling. But if you're going to be around, you like good rock music, you can come and check out our show. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Hey, you about ready to wrap this up, Russell?
Yeah, let me set that. That's Main Event Mike right there. This is the Lions Talk with your host, Russell Wayne. We do this every single morning. Faith, family, and football. Faith coming first right here. This is my church right here, NTC Church on the corner of Bristol and Belsey Road in Flint. You're looking for a place to go to church, 9:30. I play guitar. I get to play guitar in the praise and worship group right there. Great praise and worship followed by a good message by Pastor Galloway. Thank you for everybody that uses the NTC Give link that's in our description right now. We were able to serve the Genesee County community. 400 people got turkeys for Thanksgiving. Almost 100 families got served, and we're giving Christmases for their children. And that's the type of stuff that we're doing. So if you put money into that NTC Give, that's the type of stuff that we are doing, because faith, family, and football in that order. The family and football part, that's just the easy part, guys. That is just us being here, being football fans every day, talking football and spending time with our family. Use football. Don't let football use you. Don't turn into a butthole when your team loses, like our team just did. But because we got to experience some things with our family that we never got to do before. So faith, family, and football. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you. Until we meet again tomorrow, it's Feel Good Thursday. That's Football Talk with Russell Wayne. God bless.
It reminds me of a football show, Football Talk with Russell Wayne, 11 a.m. in the mornings. You should watch it because it could be good for you. It could be good for you. It could be good for your life.
It's not fair. They were so happy. It's not gonna be okay.
What's going on, Russell Wayne and the Main Event 365 Network? This is Jason Kabinda from the Detroit Lions. Here to give y'all a shout out, man. We appreciate all the support, man. Know you guys are big fans. Know that you guys are rooting for us to take the North this year, and we're going to do just that, man. Appreciate you guys so much. Just want to give y'all a shout out. Y'all have a great day.